Good day and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament. This week is rather different because I have been sent a couple of replays of McCray versus Crazier and a couple of human versus machine matches, so I'm as happy as a clam in a shell. And of course, as one of those who recommended a lot of games said, well, sorry, can't help it because of the selection, but today it seems all to be about a Locutus. But not for now, because we are starting with Crazier versus McCray, and McCray will be watching you very closely, because McCray hasn't been on the ladder for donkey's years, for half a year almost, and that's such a shame because it's such a beautiful monster, and let's see what's going to do. Scouting SCV is allowed direct entrance into the base, and that's always God. Even one of the top 2-3 bots of the moment are still doing this ridiculous goose chase, now with 3 SCVs, so that's not really optimal. But 2 of them are heading straight back to work, and oh no, here they come again. So, quick expansion with, I think, a cyber core, nice SimCity, Crazier guarding the ramp with 3 marines and going for 2 barracks, that's pretty ballsy. Might be going in for some kind of a 1-base bio push, can be very powerful. Have to time it right though, because if the goons start popping out you'll have a problem on your hands. But for the early game you can build quite a lot of marines, and that's very, very good. Things are prepping in the academy, and I think, yep, it's going to be a stim, because with stim and medics it can be so much fun playing bio. That said, as soon as Reavers and Storm hit, you are going to be in a bit of a bind, but then again with AI micro, and you can see these APM numbers, it's pretty easy to dodge storms and not be entirely wrecked every time one silly High Templar lifts its arms and casts destruction. But for the time being, that's a lot of bio. We've got 17 army supply, and they appear to be moving out with 3 medics. I think stim will be done momentarily, and range. Oh, stim is done, range will be done as well, and goon range as well, but the problem is that there are only 4 dragoons, and that can be pretty tricky. More gateways are coming up, the money is there, but the hammer will hit, and reinforcements are being sent right over. Crazier transitioning into a factory for a couple of vultures, I think, and here we go. The first casualty is a probe. Oh, and the medics are too far in the rear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. 1 marine dies, but then they have reached the boundary of the Protoss base, and although these goons are perfectly positioned, there is such a lot of firepower in these marines. The macro for McCray is coming online quickly, but will it be quickly enough? A couple of marines do die though, so you can see it 23 versus 16 army supply, and marines are firing on the buildings, and that's not really how you'd like it to be in an ideal world. And with the goons, they take a little bit of damage, but they are also doing a lot of damage. What could work for these marines would be to, oh dear, unpower the cyber core, and now it's only Zealous for McCray. Will Zealous be built? Yes, but there is nothing else to do, and that's a bit of a pity, because versus vultures and stint marines with medics, Zealots are next to useless. Crazier delaying the natural expansion, taking up though, transitioning into mech. What kind of upgrades we'll be seeing? We'll be seeing siege tank, and McCray, for want of an alternative, is going for leg speed. Zealots will have to come and play a role in this game, and the marine numbers are depressed, severely depressed. Crazier is being beaten back, and if there is anyone who can hold one of these marine pushes, it is McCray, and McCray is beating it all back. All the medics should have been sent home long ago. McCray in a stellar position, and immediately a probe is sent out, I think, to take a 3rd base. Should be careful where it's going, because it's going to die. Now with the first siege tank, but by now there are so many goons. The army size of McCray is double, and it only gets off 2 shots, kills 1 goon. But that's not quite enough. Oh, and the marine in his dying breath also takes down another goon. Crazier now should rally back at home, but is still bent on... no, it's heading back. Oh, the marines are... The SCVs are heading back, but all the other forces are being sent straight into the jaws of death. And yeah, that's not a good point. Siege, 1 shot, and that's about it. And now Crazier should please stay at home. Hastily throwing up a turret, but the entire army consists of 2 Marines, and McCray is regrouping because there isn't a Wraith harassing things over here. McCray now in stellar shape. It's got a 4-to-1 army lead. It's got all the infrastructure it wants. It's got the technology. The cyber core has been rebuilt. Storm is nearly done. And of course we've got leg speed, and no, that's not the third. Third is over here. Crazier hasn't even got a natural, and that's going to be very painful. What's Crazier building? It's going to try and stay into this game with Marines, but I think that, oh dear, that's a little bit silly by McCray, but I think this SCV will be trapped and killed. McCray has got 54 versus 14 army supply, and the army value, I need not tell you, is many times higher than that of Crazier. Crazier is going to be in a world of pain, and the only thing that can save it now is tanks, but there are no tanks to be built. It's going for a science facility for some reason, this build order. It's a nice push, but the follow-up is worse than useless, and McCray is camping in the middle of the map with a lot of High Templars, which have 2 storms in them by now. And as Crazier will stay on Marines, that's not going to work. Third base operational for McCray. Crazier, when are you going to start producing tanks? Oh well, now, but now is really rather late because there are 70 army supply and gateway units with a lot of High Templars, and this is going to be very quick and bloody. The science vessel will be able to see it all, but as soon as these oh, there aren't any medics either. As soon as these High Templar rock up, these Marines won't have a shadow of a chance, and without medics it's not going to work. There is a tank. Oh, but the Storm takes care of all the supporting units. McCray plowing through Crazier, record speed. Crazier's push failed, the unit composition was too bad, and with all the Storms, McCray is going to be in stellar shape to take this game. Natural over here, main base over there, and that is why we'd so like to see McCray back on the server, because with all these top Terrans and aspiring Protosses, it would be a treat to have McCray over there. It's such an addition to the player pool, and Crazier is up for a beating this game. And there you see it is going for a quick defeat, and I say let's hop into the next game, which is another Crazier versus McCray. And of course Crazier does learn, so hopefully this time it will not go for that one base bio push, because McCray has got things well under control. It was some pretty good defense, and McCray going for the SimCity at the natural again. Crazier going out with the scout and depot first. I think that's a good bet because there aren't all that many hyper-aggressive players anymore. Mainly that's because Crazier himself disabled most of the full pool bots, but then again it's only a matter of time before Crazier picks up on that, and Crazier the bot, and picks a more defensive strategy. Nice wall by McCray. It's a little bit vulnerable because if this pylon gets killed, we saw last game, there are no more goons to be had. Now Crazier is going for the command center first. Before even a single combat unit has been built, the command center is operational, and that I think is a good decision. With the bunker will be better this game. McCray picking up, immediately planting the third, and the cards are stacked. It's going to be an eco-heavy game, and let's see if McCray can deal with the mech play going to come out of Crazier this game, no doubt. Here we go, first factory, machine shop added, and McCray is going for full pro production. The third is already up and running, and that is the hallmark of a great player. If you see your enemy turtling and taking a quick expansion, take another one. And now it's trying, McCray is trying to push. It will not be able to. Ooh, that's pretty sloppy, losing a goon. And the tank in the rear. Still no high ground used by Crazier. This would be such a nice promontory to have a couple of tanks. You can command this entire area. And now Crazier's Von Vulture is hitting the map. Has it got mines? It will have soon. So then it will have some more map control and insights into what's going on the map. Now McCray going for, let's see, gateway play with upgrades, +1 started, +1 armor, leg speed, goon range is there already. So McCray not forgetting anything, and Crazier placing a scan right on top of it. Must see the High Templar, but nevertheless it is going to be all about one thing, and Crazier taking a little bit of an exposed third. I think that's really rather sloppy, and these tanks don't have all that many supporting units. This tank on the high ground, I don't know what it's trying to do. It's not stuck. And the vultures of Crazios, although there is a cannon over there, do detract some of the forces of McRae, and that's always a good thing to have. If you have all these Protoss forces here at the main choke, it's going to be a bother. And now Crazio, with a couple of Goliaths, could bring up a couple of tanks, because if you command this position, the enemy will also have no way to run if it gets beaten back over here. So a couple of tanks might be nice. Some kind of an integrated position. Ooh, and the first storm goes off, but at the cost of one Templar. And now the Zealots are coming in. The SCVs are not at the bunker. And there are 2-3 more tanks in the rear, so right now these goons can't get anything done, and the Templar is not in range of the tanks because of the bunker. So that's pretty good. Crazio up and running with the third, worker-wise, both parts perfectly balanced. And McRave is now... Brave is being asked, well, what are you going to do? Because Crazio is going to sit back on 3 bases, build a lot of tanks, and slowly but surely push your nose in the intermediate future. And although there are not all that many mines out yet, there are some storms, that's good. Crazio advancing with the tanks, nice storms going off, and you can see if even moderately well used Templars are good for PvT battles. The tanks do take a little bit of damage, or quite a bit of it, and with 2 storms and the occasional zealot or goon hit, the tanks die, and that's what you'd like to see. McRave going for a 4th base, I like that, and could do a little bit more to stall this kind of stuff. Just throw up a pylon and the cannon over here or there, and just have a little bit of more map control. And could also send in some Zealots over here, 4 Zealots, and perhaps a High Templar would decimate this base. There's no defense. Same can be said for this base though. A small Vulture raid would shut this down, no questions asked. And Crazio will have to work hard to break out of this contain, because the storms are so good. And then a Zealot wades in, takes the last kill, and ooh, McRave is so good. It would be such a treat to have it back on the server. The bunker is firing for all it's worth. The Matrix arc is going off. There is no immediate repair on the tank. That's a small mistake, I think. But then the gateway units take such a pounding from these tanks in the retreat. But now this goon will find a 3rd base, and perhaps... ooh, this is not a wise position to build buildings. And here they go. McRave immediately picking up on it and evaluating it as a small risk kill opportunity, and this base is entirely undefended. There is 1 Goliath, but it's in pretty bad shape. Turret is being defended and the Goliath is being repaired. With 1 Goliath, what can you do versus so many Zealots? Crazio must reinforce now, but it's sort of stuck in this base with the tank siege. It can't really get the forces out, and the base of the 3rd base will be up for grabs, while McRave... oh dear, this Vulture is getting some back, but there is a cannon, so the damage it will do will be limited in the end. But McRave looking in sublime shape, and it will be such a treat seeing it go toe-to-toe with Crazio in CIG and AWIDE, if both will sign up, of course. Crazio taking a new 3rd, but this clusterfuck of army, whoa, McRave really bring the storms down into... wow, if you stormed this tank, the High Templar would have been over here. That's so brave. But Crazio can't really get out of its base because of the SimCity and all the tanks which are sieged over there. And that's not good at all. Some units caught up over here as well. And Crazio is suffering a little bit from... well, building placement really. Now the tanks are moving out and are going to defend the 3rd, but will they be in time? Probably, but there ought to be an SCV for repair pretty quickly. And again it's the tank sieging on the high ground. Oh, and it's going for the repair on the factory. That's not how you'd like to do it. You've got to repair this command center. And the tanks are... the tank micro is not on point, and that must be said. And now McRave is going to do a lot of damage, but the Zealots are getting beaten back by all these tanks, and that is McRave's problem right now. Although McRave has been picking all the right fights and doing everything right, could have nicked this command center, just killed it, give it a little bit of a higher priority. But now Crazier is out on the map with an army which is smaller than McCray's. McCray's got such a lot of probes, and now on the high ground this is not ever going to work. And there are arbiters, but perhaps a good recall or a good stasis will bring things back online for McCray. And McCray is picking all the right fights. No chance getting into the high ground, then goes straight down to the middle. That might also be more harassment focused, because these bases are pretty much defenseless. One tank, that's it. And this base even hasn't got a tank. It's got a bunker, but there are no Marines over there, no Marines in sight. One tank making its way over. And as long as McCray keeps pushing into the concentrations of tank fire, it's, oh look at that, Crazier's wet dream. There is no science vessel over here, that's strange. Here comes one, but it's guarding the main choke where nothing's happening. And that's odd. Will there be more? Not for the near future. And that means you've got to do with scans or do something about that arbiter. Now McCray is still maxed, it's got this huge economy. But now Crazier is tackling that as well. And you can see McCray making another attempt, but there are just too many tanks on the high ground. A small choke, 1 or 2 vultures will result in a delay of 2 tank blasts, and that will do so much damage. Small peak, we have stasis. Have we got recall as well? No, we've got the catering tablet and the arbiter energy as well. But there is no recall yet, and that might really work wonders for McCray. McCray is maxed, Crazier isn't. But as long as McCray keeps... Oh, now Crazier getting a little bit careless with the tanks. The tank movement is not all that good. And if Crazier loses this base, well, it's got these bases over here. But there are zealots roaming this side of the map, and although there is one tank, as this probe will soon find out... Oh, and some Marines, that's pretty good. Because at the cost of 6 supply you can defend the base before against any kind of casual run-bys until the cavalry arrives or any kind of reinforcement. Now the third base is pretty much defenseless, but McCray is going to pay dearly, and if you are not going to commit, it can be even more costly than you imagined. Crazier popping up with the repairs, and a couple of well-placed stasises might work wonders, but you can see at these ramps the slaughter is just too great. McCray losing 50 army supply. The arbiter is under fire as well. Have we got a recall? No, we haven't. And that is just McCray picking all the wrong fights. Crazier setting up shop all over the map, and once Crazier reaches this point with 75 workers, all the tanks in the world, a couple of science vessels, it is very hard to stop, as anyone can tell you. Arbiter and an Archon, but with the tanks on the high ground, nice burning buildings, Crazier has been put under a lot of pressure, but also dishing out the pressure, and if McCray doesn't do anything about this vulture run by, it's just 4 vultures, 1 or 2 cannons, and a goon perhaps would have stopped this, but workers are being transferred. McCray is bleeding, trying to balance vultures, but not really considering that it's not a safe place at this base right now. So every probe being sent in, these vultures must have 20 probe kills apiece. That's really insane. And while this struggle in there, that's a nice storm though. Crazier can't really get out, but McCray shouldn't be trying to get in. That's its major flaw right now. It can't really handle tanks. It's got excellent macro, but it cannot deal with tanks on the high ground in the way which it's trying to do so now. Upgrade wise, looking pretty good. Crazier looking good of course as well, but it's just not going to work for McCray. And McCray is falling in army supply rather markedly. And although there are a lot of Templars, many of them are pretty much damaged. And this base is mining out. This base is still under attack by the vultures. They should not kill the Nexus. And McCray keeps feeding it probes, and the probe count is falling precipitously. That is not good at all. And Crazier fortifying the entire map. There are turrets, there are mines everywhere. This half of the map is totally in the control of Crazier, and although Crazier is mining out, it's still got 3-4 bases to mine from, and now placing buildings over here as well. Yes, the observer will see them all, but what can you do? The storms aren't reaching the tanks anymore. There is no stasis being placed, and that's odd. Crazier's now got lockdown, so ooh, that's nearly That was a near miss with the EMP, but if these arbiters get EMP, yeah, there they go. They got EMP'd and they weren't using their energy anyway, but now Crazier is reaching the ramparts, is reaching the natural of McCray. And that is going to be that, as they say. This base shut down, this base sort of mining with 2.5 probes, but that's not going to be nearly enough. This base totally vacated, and Crazier in the natural. I call the GG, and we'll hop into the next game, which will be one of the recommendations, Banana Brain versus Purple Wave. And pardon me for showing so many good games, but so many of the top authors are working on their bots so hard, and it's just a treat to watch the ladder right now, because there are so many good bots. All the bad bots are getting weeded out or updated, and the level of play is just increasing so much that you've got a 50% chance in any game to have a really good bot fighting in it. And even the mid-tier bots are doing so well, most of them being based off Steamhammer or University of Alberta or on Skynet. There is an Iron clone out there as well. The level of play is just growing and growing, and there is nothing to stop it. So all the games are so good, and if you make a weekly selection like I do for the games, it will be pretty good as well. Nice kill on the probe, no scouting information to be gleaned, and Purple Wave going for a somewhat hidden gateway and cybercore play. Banana Brain's got the both set up already. And the question is, why is Purple Wave so late? And I think that's got to do with the distance can't be too much of a bother, can it? Probe-wise, Purple Wave's got an extra pylon, but then again, that shouldn't make all that much of a difference. And is this going to be some kind of Dark Templar play? Because if this is going to be a Citadel, there will be lots of gas saved already. Here we go, we are going to see Dark Templars, ladies and gentlemen. The question is, will Banana Brain be in a position to deal with that? But there is already a Robo Bay, and here comes the Observatory and the Natural. And, oh, that's a nice concave. You can still build a Nexus over here. And here comes the pressure. And I like that. That's some kind of an augmented Dark Templar build. There is an Observer, that must be said. But with the small push and army-wise, it's a little bit balanced. But if the DTs reach that stage, and they won't if they keep retreating like that, they can dish out a lot of damage. So what you'd like to do is let your Zealots and Goons mix in the fight, then sneak in the Dark Templar. They don't have a lot of hit points, but if they do reach the enemy, they can do 40 damage a swipe, and that's quite a lot. So Natural up and running for Banana Brain. A little bit later for Purple Wave, and this probe is doing God knows what, so let's take stock. Lots of tech over here, Reaver tech not yet there. We've got 3 observers, all of them sitting here. That might be a small point of detail for Banana Brain. Banana Brain taking a third already, and the Natural for Purple Wave is up. These Dark Templars are well, stuck, unstuck, and there they go. But Banana Brain's got the army advantage, and with the 3 observers, well, it just about equals out. Oh, there you go, and now the Dark Templar gets into things. It dishes out a lot of damage, but also dies very quickly, so ideally you'd like to have it join the battle a little bit later. And this rearguard action thing is really detrimental to your army count. And you can see Banana Brain getting the upper hand, 3rd base up and running, no worker transfer yet, and more buildings coming. 2 forges spinning, and Purple Wave with the back to the wall, but there are 2 cannons, there isn't High Templar, and Storm will be done momentarily, or it will have enough energy for Storm. So that might be good. The Goons are retreating and fighting not really as effective as they could. The Templar isn't really ready to cast, oh dear, and then totally misses. And this one Zealot is not really. The Goons are mixed up in the workers. They are so messed up. Now killing there is an Archon coming up, and the Dark Templar getting into the fray as well. So Banana Brain overextending, and both players are really a little bit stuck on micro. That said, 4th base started for Banana Brain, and I think compared to the main, that's a nice spot, but ideally you'd like to have it over here, so that you could zone off this area over here and not be pressured too much, because now Purple Wave can just run in a couple of Dark Templars and be done with it. These two observers are going to make their way home, but the question is, will Banana Brain have enough forces? Oh dear, and here comes the Dark Templar, and immediately going to town, 1-2 probes, and without observers it's going to be pretty painful. Now the Archon is going to run in over there, camping the ramp, and that means that the entire army of Purple Wave will have access to the natural of Banana Brains. This Archon on the ramp is so beautiful, and now with the Zealot backups, Banana Brain hasn't got the army. There is just not enough army, there is not enough firepower to try and stop this Protoss. Oh dear, and it's been tacking so hard. That was a complete misvaluation. If you see a large enemy army and you have got a very small army yourself, it's not the time to be building Templar archives and Arbiter tribunals and things like that. Of course, if an Arbiter pops and the enemy has got no detection, you are going to have a sweet time of it, but the immediate priority should be building an army. Now Purple Wave is going to sit back on 2 bases, oh no, 3rd base over here already, but has carved up the natural, and I think, oh look at that, Banana Brain is going to hold the ramp, and these goons over here should be careful not to be cut off from the main army, but many probes are being lost, and what's worse, perhaps you will drag a couple of units into your new mineral line. Natural is restarted, and Banana Brain somehow is in a very good position. There was too much fighting going on over here, not enough damage being done in the natural or the 3rd, and the priorities of Purple Wave are really messed up now. Purple Wave going for another base. It's now 3 versus 3 bases, the probes are being transferred, and this base is completely defenseless, only being targeted by a single goon, and now the Zealots are rolling up as well. But here comes the army of Banana Brain, trying to clear it, and with the Arbiter, I think that is going to be a boon, because as soon as Purple Wave loses its detection, it's going to be painful, and immediately going for the kill, doing a lot of damage to the Nexus. I think that's a good decision, because if you can tear down the Nexus or just keep it in low health, it's going to be a liability for Banana Brain to invest in defense or divert its army to help and defend this base. And this small attack with all the rallies and all the cannons cannon on the high ground, that's pretty pro. I think this is not a good decision to try and get anything done in the natural. Probes are coming off the line, but really they shouldn't bother, because they're just getting in the way of the fighting units, and then the micro's getting messed up again. And yeah, there we go. So this Zealot, will it get a probe kill? Yes it will, that's pretty neat, but doesn't really work like that. And Banana Brain with a very small army should be careful not to catch a storm. Oh, and all the observers die. Oh, save one. But Purple Wave is getting in a better and better position, still harassing this base over here. Now also going to hit the natural with a couple of Zealots, and they are doing so little damage, looks like. That's really odd. But in the end, I think they are now going toe-to-toe with the High Templars, and of course they haven't got this energy attack that Tassadar has. That would be really nice, like the Cleric in Warcraft 1. It had an energy attack as well, that was pretty pro. It didn't really do a lot of damage, but it could do something. And it was nice to see it not being totally defenseless. Or was it? No, it wasn't the Cleric. The Cleric had no attack. It were the Conjurer and the Warlock which could do that. Those were pretty cool. I'd like to see Warcraft 1 AI battles. That would be so cool. But then again, we should be happy with StarCraft. Now, Banana Brain is buckling. There was too much damage out there. Purple Wave smelling victory, building buildings all over the place, and not only defensive structures but also gateways. Look at that. And that is the hallmark of a really good player, because if your main gets camped, you won't have all your production in the main. And there we go, harassing all the bases. That's always a good idea, to just go and see what you can get done. So for the sake of brevity, I will call GG, because there are so many good games this week. It's really out of this world. And pardon me for bringing you Locutus versus Crazier. And Locutus I was informed that the Crazier ELO ladder had been down forever. We've got a new bot as well, Fifui Legend, Random. Keyboard has been updated, Banana Brain, Brian Weber, everything's being updated. Within a week we have about 10 to 20 updates, that's really insane. ELO wise, ta-da-da-dum, what do we see? Locutus has overtaken Crazier, and when I started this broadcast or preparing for it this morning, it wasn't so, but it's very close, and then it's basically the rest. But Locutus at number 1, he'll be so pleased with that. Then Ironbot, Banana Brain doing really well with the last update, then Purple Wave also doing very good, and that's why I'd like to see McCray back on this, because it's not a given that McCray would be up here at all. There are so many good bots. TSCMU Random is playing a part. B Reaver is over there. Cherry Pie doing well. TSCMU's there. Purple Swarm is over there. That's Purple Wave, but then the Zerg version. And it should be, yeah, there we go. And then Antigua is doing well. Woolybot still over there, the winner of this year's Student Division. Microwave with the upgrade. Killerbot still there. And you can see Skynet, Fork and Simon Prince. There are so many good bots all over the place. Martin Workers Leaderbot update, we are still waiting for that. Then Ice Lab, Zer. And even if you're here, you've got Alien, you've got Whopper, you've got Geobot, you've got Random Hammer, you've got the original Skynet, you've got Steam Hammer, you've got TSCMU Zerg, you've got Ximp, Geebot, Nightcat, Crazierbot, Stone, and even here are bots which are pretty decent. So the level of play is enormous. Importantly to note, it's Locutus at number 1. So let's see and find out if it's going to win this game. It's not really a championship game in that regard, it's just one of the games I have been recommended. But it will give us a glimpse into what Locutus is capable of, and also in what Crazier can still do, because Crazier should not be underestimated. It has been number 1 for, well, I don't know. Should have a look at that. Oh, well, I can have a look at that. Haha. Where is it? Bots and results. And give me the ELO table, please. Oh, big ELO chart. Ooh, that's pretty ugly. Let's watch the small one. It's at least visible, right? So this is, wow. Crazier went offline for the tournament because he wasn't happy with the bot's performance, but you can see from the 11th of September last year up until now, and it's still, Locutus has overtaken it at one point, but then got beaten back. It has taken this long for Crazier. Crazier's been on top for half a year, and we can't see this part. It will be a long time over there as well. Locutus is really improving fast, so let's see and find out how. Crazier's scouting SCV is doing the rounds, and with a goon chasing, I think it's a wise decision to get out of there. Oh, and the goon completely ignores it. And there we go. So Crazier going for a quick bunker, a late natural command center. I don't know why that is. Crazier is so, it's a little bit slow sometimes. It's doing too many things at once and it can't really pick a build. It's got a bunker, it's got an academy, it's got a barracks, it's got a comsat, it's got a factory and an expansion, and it doesn't really excel in any of those. And I think because of the newer players getting so greedy and gosu and good, you'd really ought to do something, either start with a game plan and carry that through, or depend on scouting and really try to counter more precisely what the enemy's doing. Because the Cutest is not really quick either. It's going for 2 things at once, an expansion, a couple of goons, and then Templar tech. So that leaves you with some room to maneuver. And you should, of course, repair! Oh, the repair fails, and Locutus goons can break sort of through. Crazier now in a hard bind, because these goons can out-micro a lot. There are only 2 of them. So with good defensive micro, oh, and it's no time to build a turret. Please, you need a bunker, and Crazier really dropped the ball there. Now with the tank, boom, there you go, and immediately the goons take their leaves, because competing with the tank is not really fun if you're only 2 goons. Now Crazier with 2 tanks and no supporting units, and really ought to rebuild this bunker because that can be such a boon. It's always very hard for an AI player to estimate what are you going to get done if you're going to pass the bunker. It obscures the vision and it's really hard to approach it. And Crazier, what are you doing, man? Oh dear, I totally missed that. Okay, so while things were going on over here, there is a turret over there. And here it goes, we've got the shuttle. Oh dear, that's pretty pro. And it's passing over here, the goons are taking a step back. The shuttle is coming in and immediately the tanks are going down. And the DT is going for the turret and the comsat at the same time, and for the SUVs. So a lot of chaos, but then they get repelled and beaten back, and now the goons are getting into the natural. Crazier scrambling, trying to fight back at all fronts, and Locutus in the meantime taking a 3rd base. That's pretty good, but that cost you a lot of army, and had you had a stronger push over here, you might have done more damage. The comsat was being targeted here as well, but not really in a concerted way, and Crazier had the luck that there were some rallies coming out, and of course Crazier did scan with the comsat, and that's why what is used for the comsat. Did scan the Templar archives and immediately put up a couple of turrets in the main base as well. So Crazier holding in a sublime style. Problem going to be is that, well, 3 bases against 1. And Locutus is going to press the issue, but it's doing so in a rather suicidal way. These tanks are taking so many kills, and that's good for Crazier. And I'd still like if TCMU and M42 have got the time to make a little bit of a unit portrait with a kill counter, because that can get quite hilarious in AI games. So Crazier now roving the map with the vultures, and Locutus doing the same thing with what's it called again, a dragoon. So vying. Oh, and here you might have done something really great with the zealot run by. But the tanks were unseated, and now you're going to take a lot of damage. So Locutus' army movement is good, but not as good. It's still throwing away a lot of stuff all the time, and losing a goon here, a zealot there, running into a mine somewhere else. And that's, in a long-term occasion, it's just not going to be very good. This base completely undefended. Ideal would be just a pylon over here. Cannon, and it will be impregnable for any kind of vulture thing. And the vultures here will have to be chased out by a couple of goons and zealots, and that takes time. And with 1-2 cannons over here, you could just prevent that, not get supply tied up with defending. And Crazier can now build a nice large round of tanks. Crazier ought to take a 3rd though, because the main is at half health, what do you say? And yep, here we go. Oh, with the dropship, that's pretty pro. But it's still pretty exposed, and Crazier has got some issues defending bases. Locutus is really pressing M for macro. Look at the main base go, and it's not... Oh, wow, that's a lot of gateways. Really setting up shop, building some in the middle of the map. And here we go again with a vulture here, vulture there. And it's just so... Oh, this vulture is pretty suicidal, but it's so mixed up. And that's pretty bad. But this one's still alive, and oh, it's trying to really get in there, but just keep your distance, lay a couple of mines and do it again. So Crazier got shifted out of this base. That's not good. And Locutus is wasting units over here, but with the map situation as it is, oh, and 2 more vultures over here, one of them sticking its neck in way too far. I don't know what that's about. It should be easy peasy for Crazier at this point to just depopulate the base in record speed without getting hit by the probes. And Locutus' refusal to build a couple of cannons is allowing these vultures back in. So mine over there, and stuff going on over here. Crazier can't really push beyond this bridge because Locutus has got so much stuff, and Locutus is trying to retreat a couple of goons over it, but it's not really working. And now the goons stay and fight and are... Oh dear, dear, dear. Crazier really being put under a lot of pressure, and Locutus is running away with this game. The main is slowly or quickly running out. The natural still got some juice in it, but you'll have a 4 versus 1 base situation on your hand, And if the 3 bases are being run by, or 4 bases really, are being run by Locutus, and Locutus is really losing so many probes, and then some zealots will have to come off, and it's just going to take time. Crazier desperately trying to get a 3rd up and running, but it doesn't control the map as it should. These tanks over here should be, well, camp this bridge over here. You can threaten the base over here, and that means Locutus will have to keep forces over there, and if you have the position over there, you're not going to be able to storm this easily with gateway units. So cut down this bridge over here, then, oh, nothing's going to come through here. Perhaps set up shop over here. You cut off this base, or perhaps catch the ridge and the ridge, but then it'll get larger. So tanks over here, tanks over there, zone of control, get things done, and not get shifted out of your prospective third base all the time. And Locutus is losing so many probes. It is not funny anymore, and although it's doing a great job sending reinforcements every time, it sort of defeats the purpose, because this map's like a pro graveyard by now. And Crazier, well, let's look at the bigger picture. Army-wise, there are no very large difference. The difference is in income right now, because Crazier's main is out, the natural's running out, and the 3rd is not yet running, and it's not defended at all. The Cutest has got the larger army and will have the income to support that larger army for a long time, and is now pushing Crazier back through the main line of defense. Crazier taking a base, that's good. But now Locutus can threaten the 3rd and will do so. There is no defense whatsoever. And although Crazier is doing great with the vultures over here, at this point Locutus just has got the income to shut that down forever, and shut the 3rd base down it has already. So with 1 tank and a handful of units, Crazier is clawing, it's grasping at straws right now, because the natural is so low, so very low. And although this base has been taken out, this base of the map, oh, it's 2 bases, well, that's rather good. So with a couple of more vulture run-bys, Crazier could actually stay in this game, and with a couple of good mine hits, this tank is in a good position, but there is so much stuff, and the reaction is just too slow, because Crazier is trying to hold off on 2 fronts. It's sending way too much stuff to the right and nothing to the left. The 3rd base has been depopulated again. These tanks are way too slow, and if the command center dies, it will be curtains, because the natural is down. And Locutus, oh, it's going for the tanks. That's a major error. That is not good at all. It loses 20 or 30 goons for nothing. It could just have sniped the command center and be done with it. Crazier taking a 4th. It needs to. It can't even afford the vultures for harass anymore. Both players grinding to a halt. Locutus mining out over here. The game is sort of resetting. There is a small gateway army over there, but the tank corps has got things well under control. Crazier, although at an army deficit at this point, how often do you see that, is still in control of this game, and now properly defending the 4th and the 3rd, but should be a little bit quicker about it, because the command center is taking way too much damage, and this zealot could just kill it. Whoa! And the command center falls, and that's just... oh, that's sloppy, and I think that's going to be one of the next innovations needed for players, to take control of the map first and then expand there, and not just expand there and defend the expansion if there is pressure being brought to bear. Now Locutus is wasting an ungodly lot of units on mines, and whoever mines up his main base, that's pretty weird. Crazier now coming back with the tanks, but the tanks are so slow, they are sieging, they are leapfrogging. And meanwhile there is a Protoss army running amok, but Locutus now being down in supply, and Crazier is... it's so frustrating to see that, but it's just a boundary where the game is at this moment. Players must defend bases first, or locations first, and then take them and then defend them. And here we go again, just 1 tank, it's so sloppy, and then defending with tanks sieging and sieging. Mining time lost, loss of life. Ooh, and Locutus bungling it just as badly. And long distance mining a little bit over here. Still have got 1 base over there. There are such a lot of workers, but Crazier, I think Crazier might just take this if Crazier does not lose the 3rd base. Crazier's army is so great right now. We've got 17 tanks, and that's more than the enemy units combined, or if you don't count observers, that is, but observers versus tanks doesn't really matter. And now Crazier is rolling out again, setting up shop over here. These units are going to be in for a hell of a surprise if they stir 1 inch or come down below ground. The observers got things well under control though, so... Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, there you go. Crazier's placed a scan, which I totally missed. And these units are going to get shelled so hard they don't even run. Oh, it's a science message from below. And that will be the nail in the coffin for Locutus, I think. And again, a vulture over here, and this base is mining out. And Crazier was on the brink of death. Locutus, well, fighting hard, but not really making the right decisions, and losing a lot of probes to vultures and here to tanks. Crazier now in there with ghosts, and should take a 4th base now, immediately. Just do it. Just 1, 2 tanks, couple of vultures, not get any kind of this zealotry going on, and Crazier taking this base. I like that, because at this point Crazier is in the lead, and although this base is somewhat depleted, it's also in the path of the enemy, so you'll be bringing the fight towards the enemy, and then it will have to defend as well, and you can defend your economy and put pressure on the enemy at the same time, and that's how you do it. Now, Locutus, what can it do? Not pretty much nothing, because it hasn't got the money. Should have taken this base over here, should have defended better against vultures, and Crazier under a lot of pressure. We saw it win and lose versus McCray, and we saw it eke out a game versus Locutus, but it has been so close on so many occasions, and there are so many things that Locutus could have done better. But by now Crazier is rolling. Yeah, of course you can take the base if your enemy's got an army supply worth 3, and that's all on observers. So that's the game. And now I should be going into all the other recommendations I've got, and I was so determined to keep this broadcast short, but it's just not going to work. And God, I've got so many games. Yeah, well, let's have the next one up. We've got Crazier versus Antigua or Iruyan, I think it's supposed to be. And Iruyan, of course, is a human, and Crazier is an AI. Oh, there we go. It's a worker rush. Let's see how this is going to pan out. Normally, the workers of Protoss are not as strong as those of Terran, but there's nothing up over here. And here they go, immediately going for the kill, going to disrupt mining, and see how these workers are clustered, and Crazier just can't be the surface area to do damage. And although some probes are falling, in the end, because they have got a smaller surface area, they can be more effective in tearing down these SCVs with their small laser cutters. This probe tried to stop construction on the barracks, but Crazier hasn't got any money anymore, so that's pretty well played, and the GG might take a while, but GG. And the next one up is another one. It's Iruyan again versus Purple Wave, and Iruyan playing Terran this time, and Purple Wave is playing Zerg. That's pretty good. And look at that. The hatchery is taking so much damage, and here come the workers again, and they are just going for the main hatchery. They're not attacking the workers, and that means, oh, now some workers come off the line. Now they're going after the spawning pool, and if they tear it down before it's done, yeah, there we go. The workers are in such a great shape. Oh, and there is a natural being taken by Purple Wave. Had got something special in. And the main hatchery gets killed. That's so funny. And now the SCVs are going after the spawning pool again. This hatchery might actually get built, but Iruyan has got things well under control. And it is now going for this base over here, going after the workers. The workers all pop. And now they're trying to fight back, but it's not really working, is it? So, yeah, that's the G... Oh no, the workers have it. Oh, that's pretty cruel. Iruyan can't really get it done. And I doubt with these 5 SCVs if it can get it done right now. The worker defense by Purple Wave is pretty good, actually. But it's such a clusterfuck, and only 2 SCVs remain mining, and these 2 are pretty low, so now we've got a weird situation on our hands, where Purple Wave has got... Oh, and here come the workers again. So it's going to be a tug of war. Oh, now they're going after the hatchery, and the drones don't think it's a major danger. And now it's... Oh, there is another base over here. Oh, God. And the SCVs are scouting. They should have just followed the drones. And yeah, here comes the scout. And Iruyan is just going to stay on workers. And here... Oh, here come the workers again. But now the base is up and running, and there is supply, so what's Purple Wave going to do? It's going to save money for another base, and this is just going to be beyond silly. Every time the hatch is going to be killed, and another one, and that's the game. So worker rushes work good versus top bots. We saw this last game, right? Yeah, that was that one. Sorry, I'm mixing things up. And I need to show you this one. It is Iruyan versus Crazier again. And that will be the last human versus machine matches. And hopefully we are going to see a normal game now. And what's this map? It's Transistor. Crazier will probably balk out like a motherfucker because this main base starting location is not something it knows very well. And the pathing is sort of peculiar on this map, so... there we go. Iruyan going for a quick natural command center for some reason, and Crazier just building... Oh, building 1 too. Okay, well that's pretty good. And the wall of Iruyan is in a peculiar location. Oh well, this is a closed-off natural, and you've got 2 access points from below and the top over here. So Crazier's really got the same sort of setup, and the weird main base layout is not as bad as it seems. So worker-wise, perfectly balanced. Army-wise, Crazier a little bit ahead, has got more Marines, looks like. And the question is, will Crazier be able to deal with the weird base layout? And then again, will Iruyan be able to do the same? And here we go, quick, really quick StarCAIT. Looks like some kind of battlecruiser play of 1-2 bases, what the hell. Crazier going for a lot of mech. I hear the siege tanks already taking a 3rd base, getting into full swing. Here comes the eBay and Iruyan. Oh dear, that's so beautiful. Because it will be pretty hard for a Terran to roll up through here and not take too much fire from the high ground. And small peak. Yep, battlecruisers in production, that's pretty sweet. But Crazier's got 3 bases. Oh dear, and I don't know if it knows how to deal with that at all. We'll see. And taking another base, and Iruyan just expecting Crazier to dash at the cliffs. It's not happening. Crazier, what is it doing? Just defending the main base pretty well. And now it's rolling out, defending the new base, that's good. This base over here as well, but generally what you like to do is place a couple of mines over here, over there, build a building or 2 here, turret over there, just to have a little bit of a buffer and a little bit of reaction time if you see the enemy coming, and send it in. And this is a really human-focused map with all kinds of nasty cliffs and doodadded back alleys where you can't run a vulture behind. But by now, that's pretty... how many battlecruisers have we got? We've got 4 already. So it's battlecruiser, tank and Crazier with the usual mishmash of units. Taking a lot of bases though, and oh, well, Iruyan is doing the same, that's good. Building a lot of buildings as well, and you can see, despite one of the players having about 70 times as much APM as the other, the results are pretty much the same number of bases, number of units. And Crazier is just spamming for victory at this point. And you can see that the army supplies don't really evade each other pretty much. We've got 6 battlecruisers. Have we got any in production? Yes, we have about 3. Let's speed it up before an engagement is going to be seen. And now Crazier is going to have to walk by this area over here. And these tanks have got a sublime position, so that should underline the need for bots to do something with that high ground mechanic and zone control. And you can see, oh here we go. The question now is, where are the battlecruisers? The battlecruisers are over here. Crazier attacked from all angles. This angle is pretty much shut down by Iruyan. And Crazier, oh no, that's Irurian with tanks over here. Crazier's maxed, Irurian's maxed. And the question is, where are the battlecruisers? They're over here. Of course, we'll have Yamato, not the energy upgrade. That's a bit of a... if you've got so much money, you'd ought to have that. And Crazier is looking to EMP that stuff, and is now taking this base by sort of storm, but here come the battlecruisers, and they shut things down record speed. And although the Goliaths are fighting pretty well, there is just so much firepower in these battlecruisers, it's unfair. This point being held in check by the tanks on the high ground. Crazier can't get anything done over here. Yeah, a couple of wraith pokes over there, but that is not too much of a bother really. So Crazier appears to be on the upper hand. And the wraiths over there are doing okay, and Irurian has got one comm set, a couple of comm sets, doing okay, but now Crazier can just harass every point. But there is just way too much firepower in these battlecruisers. The Goliath production, let's have a small peek, because Goliath production isn't really there yet at all. And although there are some Goliaths, there are so many battlecruisers, but the battlecruisers are getting pretty low, and Irurian is having to struggle hard with its 80 APM to make things happen. And more Goliaths are running up. The battlecruisers are getting low. Oh, and in retreat, one or two are going to fall as well. And that's going to be pretty painful. Irurian dropping a little bit of supply, Crazier just maintaining its 6k APM thing and doing its thing. Crazier harassing over here, over there. The battlecruisers can't get stuff done anymore. Pretty good position by Irurian with the turret and a couple of tanks, so the Goliaths don't really dare attack at this point. That's silly. And still we've got this this suicidal position where Crazier is still trying to push. Wow. Pretty good. Irurian though is struggling to get by, and now the battlecruisers are under attack as well. Tanks are rolling up toward this base, but if these two bases fall, and Irurian is defending masterfully, there are a couple of turrets and a couple of tanks, but Crazier has just got too much stuff, and there are ghosts as well. Will there be lockdown? Ghost and Wraith Cloak lockdown. Yamato upgrade wise, both players in an okay shape. Crazier having some issues in just taking out one tank, because the calculation should not be can we how do we beat this tank. If it's siege, the calculation should be if we take out this tank, this whole base will be up for grabs, and that's a considerable economic advantage for me. Now, will we see lockdown? Probably not. Ghost being silly. Would have been nice to see, but no. Crazier a little bit stuck on these siege tanks, and Crazier, although maxed, is not getting too much done at all. Is sort of stuck, and now the battlecruisers can just take their sweet time. Yamato things every once in a while. Crazier now with the anti-air is in an okay position. These wraiths are doing great. Oh, that's a lockdown right there. Could do with another. And Crazier now taking this base is in a good shape and taking two fights at once, but Irurian with the tanks on the high ground. Ooh, but with the lockdown it gets an increasingly expensive proposal for Irurian to help and defend that. The Goliaths are doing so much damage, so you can see if Crazier would be able to break these tanks, and that's one of these next level things for AIs, to be able to just take out a tank, take the damage, and see what you can accomplish by taking out these tanks, what kind of an advantage you will get. And Crazier can't really, for the life of it, take these high ground tank positions. That's not good at all. Losing an eBay and the barracks on these turrets is rather silly, because these turrets, the position has been known for ages. Irurian though is still, wow, what a bang. Well, that's amazing. Is in an okay position, has got its fair share of the map. Crazier onto one base really still, and with a mini iron cannon, that's so cute. I think Irurian's got the better cards, especially as it's got a bit bigger bank. The battlecruisers over here are being repelled by the turrets, by the bunker, but there are just so many battlecruisers, and there are not enough. Where the bloody hell are these Goliaths? They should be in the front line. And Crazier, what's it building? It's building ghosts and marines, and right now you need Goliaths because they are so cost effective versus these battlecruisers. Irurian though is taking back a base, and now Crazier is mined out. It's got 100 gas, but it's not going to be enough, and that max army that you see over here will still be there, and then, yeah, here come the Goliaths, but then you're out. Whoa, that's so many Goliaths. We're out of gas. And with this, the clever use of chokes and ramps, Irurian can get by so very bloody well. Crazier now dropping, and although Irurian is dropping as well, its work is being lost and the army is still pretty large. Ooh, but right now that's a killer army to fight battlecruisers, and with the energy of the ghosts, yeah, there you go, and there goes your entire battlecruiser army. But there is more where that came from, and now Crazier's army is severely depressed. Crazier hasn't got the income anymore, and it couldn't really force the issue at any one of Irurian's expansions, and this expansion and of course the bank is keeping Irurian into the game. Irurian should be, or should keep mining gas really, it's so gas starved. Crazier long distance mining, Crazier not being inclined to give up just yet. But the army is just too big. Look at all these battlecruisers, and as soon as they have found a place to go, that place will be in awful pain. Here you go, they run over things so quickly. A couple of turrets here, a couple of turrets there. The Crazier is being erased from the map. It's not even funny anymore. These battlecruisers have got things so under control. Look at all the damage. It's like a knife through hot butter. Or a hot knife through cold butter. Doesn't really... Oh, knife through hot butter really works well, I think. So that's the game. Crazier still being dismantled in a number of waves by a human. So work to be done, but still very impressive fight. Next game up, it's Hao Pan. It's an Ironbot clone with some modifications, and as always, it's really hard to get better results with a bot you just took as a starting point, because you don't know it so well and you don't know any plans that might be in store for it. So yeah, let's go and see. And Willy T is just, oh, there we go, largest army going for the push. And now the question is, what will Hao Pan do with a handful of vultures? This is such a potent push. I really doubt... Oh, and just sending units out one at a time. I doubt I've ever seen Ironbot do that. And microing down a fire bat, that's good. And perhaps another. But then it will be caught by the Marines with the medics, and then it will be pretty much over. Bunker on the high ground doing quite well, but in the end it will fall, and then, oh, the tank on the high ground just in time. Pretty good hold by Hao Pan there, but that's just more luck than wisdom, as we say in Holland. And now bringing the fight to the enemy, but there are too many Marines, so that doesn't really work. And the natural being started. So Hao Pan, on the strength of superior macro, is probably going to take this. And now with sieging up the ramp, ooh, you look at that, all these poor Marines and medics taking so much damage from the tank blasts. And Willy T, well, nice try, but if you're not going to succeed with the first push, then you'll have a mech Terran with the latent capacity of iron at your back, or in your neck, or whatever. And then you're going to see things like that, where it's just going to be one killing field after another. The infantry will not stand for it, and I think the Soldiers Union might complain. Another bot which got an upgrade was a Steam... no, not Steam Hammer, was Gibot. And Gibot, let's see how it's going to fare. Because I've seen him do all kinds of things which looked very promising, like Reaver drops, but they were a little bit off, and then if you are going to play Reaver, your Reaver micro needs to be on point. Steamhammer going for a 3 base, that's an okay SimCity cannons at the rear, I don't know what that's about. And an Overlord over here, so should take that down, and AIs just do not take into account the amount of damage a permanent scout like this is going to do. And now, the first cannon falls, and the second cannon is going to... No, it would have fallen, but it gets given up. And you could just take down these two buildings over here free of charge, but that's... Corsairs out on the roam. And Steamhammer sort of supply block, that's not good. The Hydras are sort of mixed up again. And 2 more Overlords I've grabbed. And these Corsairs, well, there is a Hydra underneath you. Please go and attack. Yes, there you go. And that's just very uneasy going for Zerg if you're going to get pressured so much. And the army size is pretty small. The Keyboard is doing okay. going for... Will we see a Reaver? Yeah, probably. So we'll have a Shuttle and a Reaver, and this wall could have been compromised easily, but isn't. And now the Corsairs are 3-4. And have they got the +1 attack? They will have soon. So they'll have even more damage at their disposal, and Steamhammer is just suffering a little bit because of that. There are so many Overlords lost already. I think about 10 must have been lost yet. And without the answer to that is really build a couple of spores, just not overdo it, and you have got some kind of static defense which doesn't take up supply and isn't influenced by the amount of... Oh dear, there we go, that's good. And you can see the Reaver's hardly firing. It's firing sometimes, but not all that much, and the Shuttle is just so nervous, and that accounts for this 26k APM at this stage of the game. That's just way too much. And Keybot, while it's doing cute stuff with the Corsairs and the Reaver, is sort of losing track of the bigger picture. But this Reaver micro is pretty good, and so many units are falling because of that. And, oh, there we go, the Corsairs are down. And now the Shuttle is getting low. Now going for the main base. And that Reaver's doing just way too much damage. If you've got Hydras and Scourge at your disposal, look at that. It's a PvZ hospital, ladies and gentlemen. And now Keybot, with the increased map control, is slowly but surely extending its army. It's all Zealots though, so I don't know what that's about. But I think as soon as this Shuttle is dead, that Steamhammer will be in an okay position, because it's got the map, it's got so many buildings, and it will have to build an army pretty quickly, although Mutas or the Corsairs are there. The ground forces get beaten to death by all these Zealots, but as soon as Steamhammer gets the upper hand in the air battle, and the Scourge will decide to fight for a chance, and they just die, keel over, that's not good at all. Scourge micro could be improved upon. Hydras and Mutas should be able to take down these Corsairs, but right now there are so many Zealots, and Steamhammer is trying to do everything at once, but the main thing is that your bases are sparsely populated. You've only got 17 workers, you've got no army, and what the hell are you doing building infrastructure for Ultras? That's not the right priority at all, and especially not if you've got 100 or 20 Zealots in your natural. That's not the way to play. So Keybot playing conservatively of 2 bases with the harass, and if you've got the harass on point, you can do pretty much anything you like, even park 20-ish Zealots in your natural without doing anything. You'll still be in an okay position, and look at that. Got Zealots over here, Zealots over there. How many Zealots have we got? 54 Zealots. And that is the game. So GG, Steamhammer letting us down a little bit, I fear. And as someone said, it's all about Locutus, the new #1 versus Banana Brain. And what can Banana Brain do? Banana Brain received an update as well. It's incredibly potent right now as well. So this might be a good time to watch at the 2 best Protosses, I think, on the map, on the ladder right now. In the absence of McCray, not counting Purple Wave. Purple, I think that Banana Brain and Locutus are a little bit better than Purple Wave at the moment, but it would be interesting to see a direct comparison between them. It's been a while since I did a cast about PvP, and it might be worth it to do it because we've got so many good Protoss right now. We've got TSMU Protoss, we've got Tier Protoss, which is okay, but can still pack a nasty punch with its brilliant timing. Now we've got Banana Brain, Locutus, and of course Purple Wave. And not even counting McCray. McCray would be such an asset because it's so good. We saw it play versus Crazier. It's just a monster in its own right. Now Banana Brain going for 1 base while Locutus is going for a 2 base situation. And if you are going 1 base, better do something with that, because otherwise it will be 1 versus 2 base, and now Locutus is a couple of workers ahead, already ahead in army supply, and will have the opportunity to build more forces as well. Oh, and that goon was blocking the Nexus. That's not good at all. SimCity 4 Locutus is really the best at this moment, and now a soft contain is not really pressing the issue, but if you got that contain on your hands in your advantage, you could take a 3rd base, or yep, there we go, do anything with that you like. tech behind that, and Banana Brain is looking to go for a little bit more tech, and now for a small, oh sorry, my mouse just walking there, is moving out. Locutus is down in army supply, and that's mainly because its army is sort of messed up. It's retreating and halting and not firing, and that's not the way to win battles. A couple of probes are stuck as well. I don't know what that's about. More probes stuck over here, and still 10k APM, so what the hell is going on? Banana Brain doesn't care, obviously. It's just going to go for the counter-attack. Has got the 20 supply lead, and is mopping up goons as they come out left and right, taking down the wall. And you can't see that Locutus hasn't got a leg to stand on. It's got a couple of bases, but it's got no production over there. And went AFK, brain dead for a moment, and is now paying the price because Banana Brain is immediately capitalizing on that, taking a third base, mineral only. Well, what can you say? It's as good as any if you're going to build lots of goons. A mineral only will boost your ability to build stuff anyway. So now the natural nexus is under fire. Locutus has got some kind of a goon army to fight back. But the rallies for Banana Brain really appear to make things work. Upgrade-wise, Banana Brain is a little bit ahead. Has got Storm, so as soon as Templar will arrive at the front, it's going to be bloody. But Locutus is, well, doing pretty well with these two bases over here. Might build some gateways over there, and now has beaten back the assault because so many shots were fired at the infrastructure, at the cannons, which helped considerably as well. And that's about 300 damage. Oh, and getting stuck on the neutral power generators is not good. Should do something with that as well, Mr. Locutus. But then again, there are so many things to do, and you are doing quite well already. And look at Locutus go. And there is one Dark Templar doing nasty things to the goons, but there are just so many goons. It's out of this world. And are there more Dark Templar coming? No, doesn't look like it. Banana Brain at this point is really struggling to get any kind of army together. And this third base is so exposed. Cutest has got things well under control. Oh well, the wall doesn't really get rebuilt. That's odd. But there are 4 versus 2, 3 bases, and again, oh, this Dark Templar still over here. We've got 2 now, so no matter how many goons you've got, in the end, it will be ugly. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear! And now the goons get beaten back. Nice storm to cover their retreat, or to storm their retreat. And now with how many have we got? Where are these buggers? Still 2. 2 Dark Templar rout the entire goon army of Locutus because Locutus hasn't got detection. Surely not. Oh, there are a couple of observers right now, but they should be over here where the Dark Templar are. And these Dark Templar are doing way too much damage, and that's the reason why Dark Templar and Lurkers are still so good, because it needs actual effort and a global idea of what you're doing to stop them. And if they are harassing, it's so hard to stop them. Banana Brain taking the map again. These players with their huge APMs, they can micro and macro at the same time, lead an assault and 2 harasses and micro all of their bases quite correctly. So if you let them off the hook for a minute, they will take half the map and still out-micro you anywhere you go. Still, fact of the matter is that Locutus' main army control is better, and although Banana Brain had an Arbiter and more scouts, more observers, the main battle is being won by Locutus, and Locutus is now with its own observer right there. It is doing great. It's massacring Banana Brain left, right and center, and with all the economy it's got, it can make so many units. Look at production tab. Boom, boom. Both players, no problem keeping their money down. The real problem is though that Locutus is going to walk straight into the natural. All the workers are going to be absorbed. The third base will be depopulated as well. Worker transfers, well, should be done through safe corridors, and as long as you don't know what they are, you're going to suffer a lot of pro lives. So there you go. Locutus now marching straight into the fort. That's really wicked. 50 goons, a handful of zealots, a couple of observers, and that's the game. So yeah, look at that, depopulating these bases over here. A little bit sloppy with the assimilator there, but Still, Cutest is not really going to build any kind of tech. It's just not building anything right now. It's got the army it wants, it's got all the upgrades it wants, and it's just not building anything. No infrastructure, nothing, no technology. Just everything with zealots and goons, and that's the GG. Next game up is McCray versus Brian Weber, because Brian Weber got updated as well, and I thought, well, let's pick Python's small, neat little map. Let's see what it's capable of right now. We've got a pool, we've got a handful of Zerglings. Zerglings being sent over, but as you can imagine, Istnik is not going to have any of that with the worker defense and losing a lot of mining time though, and the marine micro is pretty bad. So, yeah, even with these two Zerglings at a time, it's going to be pretty bloody to stop that, because all the workers have to come off the line. Worker micro is not as good as that of modern bots, but now with 2 barracks I think that we are going to see some marines. Yep, there we go. Priority is being given to workers, then marines, but with still 14 workers versus 11, that's pretty good. And wow, that's a wacky build order by Weber. 2 Sunkens in the main and versus 3 marines. Yep, you are not going to get in there, and although the micro of these marines is pretty bad, right now you're not going to get anything done with just 2 Zerglings at a time. More Zerglings are coming, of course, but that's just not the way to do it. And that's a really messy build order, because whoever's going to try and pressure the enemy with 2 Zerglings at a time and then build so many Sunkens at home, either some kind of subroutine is trying to think for itself and failing, or it's just a wickedly bad implemented build order. Natural could have been taken, and that's another Sunken. I really don't know what this is about. Istnik obviously doesn't really give a damn, it's just going to build marines. Has got the academy, will have a comsat, will have medics soon, and will even then prevent the occasional loss of marine lives. And there you go. What kind of a wacky nonsense is this? Couple of Zerglings immediately sent over the top, and now the medics are going to catch up with the marines, and this is, unless Weber starts trying to pull something magic out of its left ear, it's not going to work at all. And Istnik now with the mines is so sluggish and slow, but it's still... And finally the naturals there. Vultures are killing stuff left, right, tanks rolling up to the front. And that's a lot of lurkers, but they are in a horribly bad position. And are going to finish, but with all these tanks, and look at how many scans there are still 2 scans left, and I think that the lurkers will be dead long before that. So bad with micro. So Brian Weber, nice update, but I can't really see it doing any good. The tanks of McCray Istnik are just going to dismantle you. And another scan coming up. That must know there are still 2 scans, just not enough on one base. And here goes the Hydra Den. Ooh, this Zergling doing way too much damage, killing all the tanks. And Weber sort of holds. But Istnik has been let out of the box, and that's going to cost you a lot of units to break through the mine. So Istnik being a little bit lazy with the... well, with the game in general, just sitting back forever, gathering up a push and then sending it out. And yeah, comsat nearly full, other comsat operational as well. So these few lurkers are not going to get anything done. There is too much Terran firepower, and then again the lurker micro is not as good as it could have been, and more Sunkens. That's just not really... You're not going to get anything done with Sunkens versus any kind of decent Terran, and it's just going to be ugly. So Istnik taking a 3rd base in sweet time. This base taken to pieces, and main base not really mining out right now. But Weber back to the drawing board, and let's see what's going to happen. So, penultimate game of today as a recommendation, TSMU Random versus McCray Zerg. And, well, McCray Zerg is playing as Zerg at the bottom, and TSMU is playing Protoss in the top. Oh, sorry, I'm always, if I'm talking too much, I get a bit yawny. And I think from all the random races TCMU's got, I think the Protoss is the best. And you can see why with the worker defense and the cannons beating back a large number of Zerglings. Now with the Zealot, and that's a lot of cannons. That's really a bit of a wacky build order. Will we have another base over here? That would be great. Natural up and running. Ish, we've got a Muter. But no TCMU, there are too many cannons, and will the Muter try to harass over here? That's a tactic some Zerg players use. You just send one Muter over here to hang over there, and yeah, now it's found the mineral line. Looking great, worker count for McCray Zerg pretty low, TCMU doing okay, but what's TCMU going to do aside from some kind of weird Reaver tech thing going on? And one goon, of course, can take down one Muter, can take down two Muters. Should build another couple of goons and not as many Zealots though, so that's pretty weird. And McCray Zerg is going for more Muters, so that's good. And it doesn't really evaluate that the defense over here is a lot stronger than over there, and therefore you should be attacking over here and not over there, if that makes any sense. If it didn't, just turn on your video and watch that again. TCMU still in this game somehow, although it's suffering atrocious losses, and that's mainly because McCray isn't really expanding as well as it could. Going for another hatch, but should really build more workers and take more bases. TCMU is going to get out of the box soon, and there we go. Oh, Reaver, right, God. These bots, they're not too subtle, are they? Just move from here to there and straight through the middle of the map. And oh god, oh god, oh god, what kind of madness is all this? Third base being taken by both players. TCMU over there, McCray here. But it's so pretty slow, and it's a pretty funny game, but it's not really great play right now. But it's just such a barbaric struggle for dominance. And the Muters are so, god, just... Why would you try to kill Zerglings over here where there are 5 Muters pestering you, and and now fly straight into the main base. There you go, there's nothing here. And obviously these Muters do not consider a shuttle to be a threat. But if this Reaver gets off one good hit on all the probes trying to kill it, oh, there are 2 shuttles with Reavers! Ah! That was so ugly. And the main base getting depopulated. Natural is sort of dead as well, because there are too many Reavers and shuttles and Corsairs over everywhere. And McCray Zerg's got 0 workers, got 0 money. And although there are a couple of Corsairs still killing Overlords. Oh no, that's TCMU's kind of thing. There is 1 Muter left. Still a little bit of army there, but it's obviously not enough. And TCMU, well, what can you do? Just go win the game. Okay, GG, last game up. No, I don't. I just want this thing to run it. It is Locutus versus Microwave. Last game of today, and the theme being today all about Locutus, the new #1. Small peek if it still is. Because, yeah, Locutus is still #1. Wow. With an ELO rating of almost 15 points higher than Crazier. That's quite a feat. Now let's see if Microwave is able to stop him this game. We saw Crazier beat Locutus just barely earlier, and Microwave is one of the contenders, is one of the good Zerg which are actively being worked on. That's it has been about Terran, now it seems to be the age of Protoss. And Zerg, where is Zerg staying? We've got Killabot, we've got McCray Zerg, but McCray Zerg isn't all that strong yet, we saw last game. And Microwave is really one of the last hopes of major Zerg player in the Brood War AI world. Locutus has got such a good SimCity, it's really hard to break that with Zerglings or with Hydras, and with Muters even. And that's just such a boon to have because you don't have to think about it, you just throw it down. Here we go, you see the Hydras are coming off, we've got a couple of... Ooh, it's pretty good actually. Cannon is going to fall, 3 more cannons, more Hydras are coming, and all the cannons are down. Wow, and Microwave with the good old-fashioned Hydra versus Cannon Bust is getting things done. Now goons are rolling up, but there are too many Hydras, I feel, and although there are more goons coming every minute, I think this is going to work. More Hydras, more and more Hydras. Have you got goon range? We have got goon range, we've got Hydra range, so it should be okay. Hydra speed would have been a boon. And now there are just way too many Hydras. The goons are not fighting. You should have pulled the probes, used them as zealots to screen off the goons, and then keep firing and try to make things work. But now Microwave is depopulating the natural, is in control of the ramp as well, and all the probes are being sent out, and that's something that Cutest should and must improve upon, not to waste too many probes. And Microwave is starting at third. It's giving up control of the natural, but it's just coming back from some more goons and more probes, and that means that Cutest is on 15 probes versus the 26 of Zerg, and more Hydras are being ferried over as well, so that's pretty gnarly, and upgrades are being built as well. Cutest is building goons, because its goons are so strong, but right now the Hydras are in the main mineral line, and although they are going to be beaten back, if the probes would fight in tandem with the goons, look at that Hydra Micro, it is so good. It is so absolutely great. And now with 3 bases up, no workers left, no army left for Cutest. That is a great victory, but let nothing be taken from the glory of Cutest reaching number 1 after Crazier holding that position for half a year at least. So congratulations, we'll be watching. For today I say thank you for watching, keep the games coming, you can find my email address in the top left, and hope to see you again next week. Goodbye!